Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Chakras and Cusswords podcast. And if this is your first day here, if this is your first episode, welcome, welcome, welcome. I am so glad you are here, you cosmic baddies, you mystical mavens, or you bad bitches or witches, whatever it is that you like to call yourself. Welcome. So today, I want to do a little reintroduction of myself if this is your first time checking out Chakras and Cusswords and this episode. So my name's Catherine. I consider myself, I guess you could say, an alchemist. I love the center of astrology. I definitely dive deep into the chakras. I do a lot of area of energy work, if that's energy releasing, energy clearing, and creating intentions that seem to bring more energetic value to certain goals that certain individuals or myself may set. I definitely am into pop culture. If it wasn't for pop culture, what the fuck would we be talking about? So I love everything pop culture. I do love current events that are occurring now and a lot of astrology that's tied into the current events. So, with that introduction, let me get into today's episode. Today's episode is going to be about Kamala Harris, and we are going to go over the birth chart of Kamala Harris, some of the controversies and speculations, and also some of a little bit of the conspiracies surrounding her. How come so many people are planning on voting for her, and how come so many people are not planning on voting for her? I'm going to be honest. I am going to leave my political stance at the door and just kind of report how I see the energetic alignment. I know there's been a lot of talk and speculation that some psychics, especially the infamous Salone Bella, does not see the election. She just doesn't feel the energy of the election. She just doesn't see it in the future, as some might say. And I'm going to definitely talk about that on another episode. But first, I want to cover the birth charts and the astrology of Kamala Harris. And then I plan on doing the transits of the future energy of the election and also how these two candidates, Donald and Kamala, kind of work with the synchronicity of the US. And we're going to talk about it. So, Kamala Harris is the 49th Vice President of the United States, serving since 2021 as Vice President Madame Harris. She is the first female Vice President, woohoo, for girl power. Somebody said that they thought it was very dumb that I said, are we going to vote for Kamala Harris just because she is the first female just because she is a female? And I said, fuck yeah. And somebody left in my comments, that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Well, it might be the dumbest thing you've ever heard, but there is a reality that there will be people voting for her just because she is a woman. And I'm going to leave it at that. Also, she is not only the first female vice president, she's also the first Black and first South Asian vice president in U.S. history. And she started this this area of her political, I guess you could say her political career for a long time. So she's definitely been high in the political streets, especially with the Democrats, right? She is a Dem. So she served as U.S. Senator from California from 2017 to 2021 before she was placed as vice president with Joe Biden's campaign. She's born on October 20th from 1964 in Oakland, California. So she is an Oaktown girly. She is from the town. And people from the Bay Area call Oakland the town, and she is a town girl. So automatically people are going to love her for that. Like I said, this is just in fun and in joking matters. So if you are not from California, please do not get your panties in a bunch and say, oh my God, why would we love her just because she's from Oakland? Harris has a diverse background. Her mother, Shyamala Goblin, is a breast cancer researcher, and she is originally from India. Her father, Donald Harris, is in economics, and he is from Jamaica. She attended Howard University for her undergraduate, and she received a law degree from the University of California, Hastings College of Law. So she is definitely a well-educated woman. She just didn't show up in politics. She has earned her keep on the educational forefront. Harris began her career in Alameda County as the district attorney office before she became the district attorney office of San Francisco in 2004. And in 2010, she was elected as Attorney General of California, serving a total of 2 terms from 2011 to 2017. As the Vice President, Harris has focused on various issues, including voting rights, immigration reform, economic inequality, and also she played a key component in the COVID-19 pandemic and also promotes infrastructure and development within the country. So she has definitely had a upbringing of a multicultural and diverse center around her, especially growing up in the Bay Area. The Bay Area is pretty diverse. I would say California is pretty diverse as a whole. Of course, we have pockets of areas that aren't as diverse. Areas where one culture or one nationality might be stronger. We have to remember that the U.S. is a big melting pot. You really see the melting pot in California and also states like New York. She was born in Oakland, California, and her parents were immigrants. So she had that area of her parents being immigrants. I would consider, a lot of people say that they consider her as Black American. I definitely consider her as a center of biracial, multicultural. She does praise homage to her mother's Indian descent and also her father's Jamaican descent. Harris has a younger sister named Maya, and the two of them grew up together, of course, but they actually ended up moving and really traveling around, especially after Kamala's parents divorced at the age of 7. And her mother was a huge influence on her, instilling values and public service and social service. The family moved to Berkeley, California, right around the time that Kamala was 7 after the parents divorced, and she attended Thousand Oaks Elementary School. And that school at the time was racially integrated during the era of the civil rights movement. Harris often spoke about attending civil rights marches with her parents and how those experiences influenced and really helped shape who she is today. She spent a part of her childhood in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, after her mother took a position teaching at McGill University and conducting research at the Jewish General Hospital. Kamala attended a Westmount High School in Montreal. So we have to remember that people's childhoods and that energy really shapes them. Her mother also ensured to keep Kamala and her sister immersed in the Indian culture and the heritage, as she frequently would take them to India to travel, instilling in them the importance of having love and appreciation for their cultural background. And she definitely had a very vibrant and diverse upbringing. So I would like to say that anytime that you have parents that are from different countries that are not here, born and raised in the U.S., they have a fond love for their native country. It's just part of how it is. And most of the time, the children will be immersed in that culture. And I personally think it's a beautiful thing because U.S. is a melting pot. And for the people who don't like that US is a melting pot, we have to remember where the US started, by the area of conquering, and also from the conquistadors, who were people who traveled here to basically take over land. So Kamala Harris has been relatively private about her dating life, but there has been a lot of scrutiny. With all women politicians, the first thing they're going to come after is the dating life. Is she a whore? I mean, when we talk about the area of the dark feminine and the area of divine feminine and that area of judgment, it really comes out with the scrutiny that is placed upon women. And that's not a political view. That is a realistic view. So let's not talk about the fact that Donald Trump, and in all honesty, I didn't know Donald Trump had so many damn children. And the fact that he has like 3 baby mamas, and he's also had lots of relationships with lots of women. Yes, there does get a lot of scrutiny behind Donald Trump, but the way they go after the women just, is so not nice. So Kamala Harris keeps her dating life private. I don't blame her. Shit. If I had all these people in my business, it'd be private too. In the early 1990s, she dated Willie Brown, who was a prominent California politician who was the Speaker of the California State Assembly at the time. Their relationship attracted a lot of attention for a few reasons. Brown's influence and professional opportunities they thought were presented to Harris almost as like a little, I'll help you, you help me, let's get you up this political ladder. Brown appointed Harris to several state commissions during their relationship, which helped her build a political network. And, you know, it is what it is, right? When people hang out with political people and you are in that scene, you are going to be around political people. It's like if you are a nurse, there's a high possibility you might date somebody in the medical field, right? You have those common interests, you have that common energy where it makes sense. In 2013, Kamala Harris was married to Douglas Emhoff, an attorney. After a year-long courtship, they were set up on a blind date by a mutual friend, and he has been a supportive partner of her success. With their marriage, Harris became a stepmother to his 2 children, to Dougie's 2 children from a previous marriage, Cole and Ella. And she has had a lot of public scrutiny behind this. You know, a lot of people say, why can't she have kids? Okay, first of all, maybe she doesn't want kids. Ugh. I know a lot of women who just do not want kids. Kids are a lot of work. They come with a lot of responsibility. And if you are more centered around your career, maybe having kids in the equation is not something you want to do. So I'm going to tell you guys this. I only had 2 kids because I didn't want more kids. And I can see why some people might only want 1, if not none. I mean, I love my kids, but kids are work. And also, you know, there's this dynamics between their relationship where he understands his role, and he seems to definitely appraise Kamala for where she has become successful. And it seems like they have a good relationship. There has been a lot of controversy about Kamala dating Montel Williams. If you guys don't know who Montel Williams is an old talk show host back in the early 2000s. And he was very popular for having like controversial topics, especially those troubled kid topics. Like, you've been bad to your parents, you are going to boot camp. Like, he did like a Montel Williams boot camp. He also talked about like celebrity news, kind of, but he was more about talking about the topics and controversies that affect the modern day person. So that was kind of his energy around his talk show. He wasn't as big as Oprah. He wasn't as popular as Maury Povich with the "You Are Not the Father," but he definitely had his notoriety and made his stance, and he had a significant area. And they also had definitely a short-lived relationship, but it seems like there's a video that's been circling of Montel Williams and Kamala Harris when they were on the red carpet. And a lot of people are saying like, oh, Kamala, she must be going to all these Diddy parties because she's with Montel. And there's another young lady with them. Oh, but that is his daughter. Like, you guys get your mind out the gutter. So for her notable highlights, she was the district attorney of San Francisco, attorney general for California, U.S. senator from California, and 2020 presidential campaign, obviously the vice president. And the vice president, she's been the vice president. So she's definitely addressed some issues. So I'm going to say that if people want to vote for her, I think people who felt comfortable with Biden are definitely going to feel comfortable with Kamala. And maybe some people who did not feel comfortable with Biden because of his age are now going to feel comfortable with Kamala. There's always controversies, surrounding anybody who has a little color in them. Everybody goes to the birther conspiracy. Was she born here? Yes, she was born here. She was born in Oakland, California, and she is a natural born citizen. So that controversy, that conspiracy is false. False claims about her heritage. A lot of people wonder, does she really understand the African American culture? Is she really centered around that area of understanding the struggles of the U.S. African American community versus coming from a multiracial, biracial, ethically diverse community of having a Jamaican father and Indian mother? It's kind of like the same controversy that Barack went through. There's definitely been some misinterpretations of her record. Supposedly, there has always been very wide controversy about her when she was when she was district attorney in San Francisco and attorney general, that she had a lot of very strict stances, especially around African American community. And they said that like 2,000 people were arrested, but then they say that only 45 were convicted. You will have to look at the data for yourself. I did not look it up myself, because you should research who you want to vote for. So they're saying that these were all minor offenses and that, she was very strict on minor offenses, but you would have to look at that she had overly punitive stances. Anti-police, people claim that she's anti-police. I don't necessarily think she's anti-police. I think she is anti-injustice. But who knows? And then there's been manipulated video and audio clips like they do, especially with AI, with all of the politicians. So there are some advantages that she has, like the historical significance of becoming the first female Black South Asian possible president that will strike down barriers, demonstrating her ability to navigate high stakes in political environments, her political experience. She has way more political experience than Trump, even though he has been a president. She has been around in the political scene for quite some time. But then again, that doesn't matter because Ronald Reagan was an actor, then turned politician. National profile. Her profile is very high with significant international visibility, allowing her to have recognition and support. She is a strong debater and communicator. I think Trump is a strong communicator in the fact that he was a better communicator than Biden, especially towards the end. But she does have effective communication and she is entertaining. And I think Trump is entertaining. And those two factors play out high in the political arena when people are trying to see their area of diversity and also why they are going to vote for you. Why do you stand out? Right? She does pull off that energy of diversity where she brings a significance to the modern and also the modern Democrat and also the modern voter. So she does have some key issues that she will be, fighting for. Immigration's a big one. People who feel like immigration has not approved. The fact that she was in front of the immigration reform with Biden might be a reason why people don't vote for her, right? Because they're like, you guys haven't approved shit in 4 years, so I don't know if we're going to vote for you. Also, her advocacies for priority of certain justice reforms and also healthcare and voting rights and women's issues. I'm going to tell you women's issues, definitely the rights of pro-choice versus pro-life is definitely going to be playing out in this political arena. Also, she has a strong Democratic support. So we have to remember that Kamala definitely has a lot of energy where it could be seen as a good thing and it could also be seen as a bad thing. The balancing, the moderate, the modern, and also the progressive wings is something that a lot of Democrats would want somebody to do. I think that there is a lot of conflict with the Democratic Party in certain stances, and she would have to show some type of balance. We have to remember that women have been ruling in this world arena. Women have been ruling. So Mexico just has elected their first president. So the global trend of female leadership in other countries such as the United Kingdom, Germany, New Zealand, and others have had female leaders who are highly respected on the global stage. So we have Angela Merkel, for instance, who was widely respected during her area of being the Chancellor of Germany. And also we have a lot of people. So the focus on policies and leaderships and qualities, the fact that she's a woman shouldn't be like the fact that women can rule certain international relationships and presidencies should not be something that like, oh, I'm not voting for her because she's a woman. Okay, that's just as dumb as saying voting for her because she is a woman. So we need to symbol the area of progress. It could be people are electing female presidents because it has a symbol of progression and gender equality. So there's definitely been a lot of historical events where women have led. We've seen the increase of international standing after electing female leaders. For instance, there was Margaret Thatcher, known as the Iron Lady, was a significant figure in the global politics during her time as Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. So it's definitely been occurring. And I definitely think that it is a high possibility that we could have a female president, especially after the controversy about what President Ford said, how a woman will get into office.
Mr. Ford, what advice would you give a young lady wanting to become President of the United States?
Well, I hope we do have a young lady at some point become President of the United States. I can tell you how I think it will happen, because it won't happen in the normal course of events. Either the Republican or Democrat political party will nominate a man for president and a woman for vice president. And the woman and man will win. So you'll end up with a president, a male, and a vice president, a female. And in that term of office of the president will die. And
the conclusion of outdated and prejudiced perspectives of if a woman can lead the country definitely is times of the past. The women today are very modern, and they're very much centered in creating a progressive and also inclusive area of showing their leadership skills. And the U.S. is based on policies and actions and leadership qualities that a female can be president. So we will see what will happen with this upcoming election. So let's look at her birth chart, at Kamala's birth chart, and give you a better understanding of where she stands on the energy of the astrological forefront besides the political. So Kamala is a Libra sun, Aries moon, Gemini rising, born October 20th, 1964, 9:28 p.m. Pacific Standard Time in Oakland, California. For the most part, when I look at Kamala's chart, just looking at it, I would say that it definitely gives me a stance where I feel like she has a nice correlation. So Kamala is definitely dominant in the areas of the energy of air signs, as she has a sun in Libra and also the ascendant in Aries. She was born right around a full moon. It's actually the moon phase of a waxing gibbous, because she does have that sun in Aries with a moon in Aries right around the full moon phase. So definitely a high energy moment. It's kind of interesting that her and Donald and Joe Biden were all centered around this full moon, this moon energy. It's like, whoa, that is interesting that this top energy was surrounded by also a full moon, as we had the full moon in Capricorn being the night that they introduced her as the president's who he endorses when he stepped down. So a lot of full moon energy with this campaign. So she has the sun in Libra, and it is in the 5th house. Automatically, when I think of the sun in Libra, I think of energies of justice. You know, a lot of people see justice, the area of balance, harmony. Also, there is that area of having finer things. She has a charm to her. She definitely has that masculine energy where she's smart, and she's also able to value fun. She does have it in the 5th house, which to me represents that area of being a little bit flamboyant. She also has expressed areas of creativity, selfhood, and also it can be seen as an entertainer. She is entertaining, and she brings engagement to people, which is important. It's important for people to feel engaged and want to watch you. As much as people don't take in that area of energy with politicians, you know, a lot of us are like, oh, the politicians, what have they done? But in all honesty, look at the politicians that we like. Most of them are entertaining. Trump, entertaining. Biden, somewhat entertaining, but not as entertaining as Barack. Kamala, entertaining. So there is almost like that energy of the actor, right? That energy of somebody who can hold a stage, hold a press, hold a conference. She has a moon in Aries, and the moon in Aries is in the 11th house, which when we look at the area of the 11th, we see that as the area of the collective. I feel like Kamala has a little bit of a spontaneous and fiery dynamic about her. I also think that with this in the 11th house, that energy of the collective, that energy of the Aquarius, some people might see her as a emotional and also as a person who brings causes and awareness to things she cares about. And if the things that she cares about are things that you care about, you are going to feel connected to her. Also, the Aries lets me know that she is quick, she is spontaneous, and she's going to let you feel that passion. She's going to let you feel that passion of the emotions. And she has been kind of hiding her vice president kind of, she wasn't out in the vice presidents. They're not really out and about. Like, they do their campaigns, they do their little rallies, they do their research, they do their whatever it is that they're working on, right? Their little trips and stuff, but they're not out like the president is out. Like Pence was not out like Trump was out. Like, you didn't really get to know Kamala Harris's background that much. You didn't really get to know her personality, but we will now see it. The moon in the 11th house to me definitely represents that area of humanity and also that area of the humanitarian in social aspects. So she's definitely going to be seen as a crusader of social justice and having an emotional tie to it. She definitely will organize a lot of events and she does have the tendency to overexert herself. So I do think that this campaign, while she's riding high right now, I do think she's going to have a little bit of a hard time. I also think Trump's going to have a little bit of a hard time when we get to the end of the campaign trail and to the political race right around November. We're going to see that there is definitely going to be some obstacles heading both our ways. The Mercury in Scorpio is in the 5th house as well, but it is in the sign of Scorpio, so it's right on that energy of creating alignment, where the sun was in the 5th house, but the Mercury is in the 5th house of Scorpio at 1 degree. So this lets me know that people do like the fact that she's witty. She has a mouth that can hurt your feelings. Homegirl can make you cry. So me and my son kind of got into a little debate about who was going to win the presidential debate, because Trump now has to go after Kamala and show why he's the better president, and Kamala now have to go after Trump and show why she's the better president. I said, I don't know. I feel like Kamala might hurt his feelings. I feel like that girl could hurt some feelings. And she definitely, I think, can trip him up in his words. I feel that piece on her of being a better debater than Trump. She has a strong mental connection, especially with the Mercury in Scorpio, that inner awareness and that creative expression, where even though Trump is a Gemini and he just don't shut up, I feel like she's going to dig deep and she's going to definitely entertain with a good sense of humor, but also she's going to get to the point. Where with Trump and Biden, it was kind of like a run around, go around, but she's going to ask him direct questions and expect direct answers. And when people see he is not answering, that might be a problem. Because remember, Trump didn't answer some questions not because he didn't forget the question, he just didn't want to answer it. Also, she has a Venus in Virgo in the 4th house. This energy lets me know in areas of relationship, she is able to have that element of expression, and she has a strong mental consideration for other parties. She's also, I'm not surprised that she had children by step. She shows that energy of, I'm not surprised, like, she dated somebody who already had children. She has, like, I see her as the best auntie. I don't know if she, obviously she doesn't have children, but I see her as the best auntie. Like, she is like the auntie you love, she's the stepmama you love. Like, she has that mothering nature to her. She does like having children around, but she's gentle and she's very respective. I feel like there's this nostalgic era about her that you would have to only see if you were somebody in her home. Like, there's definitely, like, I definitely feel like her in her PJs and her slippers, drinking her coffee on the back porch, or just in tune to the natural area of calmness, is really like a thing with her. I feel like she is a little laid back, but she's not going to show us any of that. That's going to be something that she's going to have to see. I think she feels confident with masculine energy. Some women don't feel confident with masculine energy. For instance, they don't like to be around too many masculines, but I think she's able to see that there is a stable and root-based nature that comes with masculine energy and also the male gender. And she sees that there is a beneficial center around it in the home, which I think is very important. She has a Mars in Leo. In the 3rd house. Here we go. The Mars in Leo in the 3rd house lets me know home girl don't play. She is, she does have, that center of indulgence. She likes, gossip. She likes pop culture. She likes rap. She likes hip hop. She likes R&B. She likes things that make her feel good. She likes having fun. She's spontaneous. She's humorous, but she can also be a vibrant Leo energy with the Mars and Leo. I believe, does Trump have a Mars in Leo? I want to say he does. I'll have to look. I'm going to compare their charts, actually. That's going to be a whole different podcast. I'm going to compare their charts, show their similarities, also show the date of the election, how well each one of them is going to do, and which one has more synastry with the USA. So that's going to be its own podcast. So she's definitely puts her best foot forward, and she will take a lead. She can be seen as having a little bit of an anger. She gets mad. She also might, if she isn't expressing herself in other ways, she might throw a temper tantrum, similar to a Trump temper tantrum, but we would not see it. Okay, that's the difference between her and Trump. She will be able to control it because of that Libra sun. She will be able to shut it down, but she will have one. She does have an ego. Mars and Leo shows a little bit of an ego, and she is a little bit selfish. She acknowledges that she thinks she can win. She's not going in there, I'm worried. No. Homegirl has this in the bag. Like, she's like, I can win this shit. See this girl right here? This girl right here is the next president. Like, there's a lot of mirror manifesting going on. She she has been jealous of other people's success, you know. I would say she doesn't understand it, and she's ready to tip that crown. She's ready to take that crown. And I think she thinks that, you know, if other countries could do it, so can we. And the fact that Mexico has a first woman president, I think that's creating a niche. That's creating a area where she's like, yeah, we taking this over. We're taking this over. She definitely has, I mean, anybody born and raised in the Bay Area has a little bit of that hood presence. I'm just going to say. You could take the girl out the hood, but you can't take that hood present, that gangster era. You cannot take that influence out. It's very hard. Trust me, I've been trying to get rid of my hood presence for a very long time. The shit that I've seen, the shit I've had to stand up for, the stuff that I've been through is very hard to leave that. It's very hard to walk away completely from that. That will always be a part of you, just like this will always be a part of her growing up in a metropolitan city, especially one as diverse as Oakland and Berkeley. I look at my mom, I look at my mom's sisters. There's an area where you could tell, even though they are Caucasian women, they're Italian, Caucasian women, they have a lot of, you know, they're very modern. They got a little bit of hood in them. You know, they are street smart. They aren't these Caucasian women who were born and raised in, I don't know, like a state that they could leave their doors unlocked. They were Caucasian women who were born and raised in an area where they had to be street smart, where they had to know their surroundings. It's a different dynamic when you're raised in a metropolitan city, and you can see that. Also, she has a center where she is definitely going to be centered around the energy of material gains when we look at the Jupiter in the 12th house. The Jupiter in the 12th house lets me know that she has that area of the public opinion. She can take the public opinion and she could kind of create its own area of justification. She tends to work like she works behind the scenes. So she will show us what she needs to show us to win. But a lot of the stuff she keeps to herself. She's very quiet in some ways, but she is able to succeed. When I see the Jupiter in Taurus in the 12th house, that lets me know that people do respect her, but also there is that area of naive where they might feel like she is almost too naive. I could also see her as one who might want to spend more money with the US, and people are like, oh no, we need to keep that money in here. We need to keep that like I could see her making things a little bit more expensive with the Jupiter in Taurus. Especially in the 12th house, especially if it gets caught up with ego. But she has an appreciation of that energy of material existence, and she emphasizes that she has a lot of value to it. So I think if she brings energy of value centered around certain alignments, she would definitely say like, oh yeah, we can, you know, maybe support some more people, or, you know, we can, one of the biggest controversies that she has is Gaza and what is going on with the money that's going to Israel. Like, is she going to still be giving them money? How is she going to stand in this? I'm going to be honest, the Saturn in Aquarius in the 9th house, it makes me a little nervous for a few reasons. it makes me feel that there is like a little bit of a blockage with the collective, and there is an energy. She definitely has principles, boundaries, and she is set in her ways. I would say for the most part, she's pretty honest. But she can be seen as rebellious and super progressive. She could also be seen as somebody who has their own belief system. The Saturn in Aquarius at 28 degrees in the ninth house makes me feel like there is going to be some disadvantages, especially with the fact that she would make a good teacher. She would teach people a lot of good things. But a leader and a teacher are two different things. We also have to remember that this Saturn in Aquarius with the collective, there's definitely constrictions that come with the collective. There's also that area of blockage, and it almost where she is caring, but it also feels like there is a little bit of a belt against it. Like, I could definitely see how people are like, well, you only care about one side of the population, or you don't really care about. I can definitely already see you don't really care about the African American struggle. Like, I could definitely see that being a topic, or where Republicans and conservatives might be like, she's too caring about certain things that we don't think are important. And as a lawyer, her past experience as a lawyer politician, she is going to feel very stern. So they are going to have to soften her up, but not off too much, because then she'll be seen as weak, especially as a woman. Then she'll be considered too nourishing. So it's a weird dynamic to basically have this division, especially with the Saturn in Aquarius. It does make me a little bit nervous about if she is able to be a president for this upcoming election. She has and then we also have it in the house of the ninth. With the ninth house, we have that energy of philosophy. We also have that energy of travel, of expansion. Traditionally, that is the Jupiter house. So we see that area of evolution. So it could either be very positive, where people respect her boundaries, they respect her philosophy, they respect her communication, they respect her spiritual essence, who she is, her ideas. The collective respects it. She's able to transmit it to the collective quite well. Or that Saturn's coming on quite tight at the belt, and saying, we like it, but we don't like it that much, and we're going to hold you here. The Saturn in Aquarius, definitely, maybe if it's sextiled or it has a nice conjunction with some of the other planets coming up, maybe the Jupiter, that it might create an area where it feels like a nice balance of boundaries, responsibilities, and philosophy and communication, and her giving the words to the people. But also that Saturn in Aquarius, to me, it feels risky. It feels a little risky. Now, Saturn in Aquarius makes me a little nervous. Kamala, honey, you're going to have to figure it out. Okay, so Uranus in the fourth house, Uranus in Virgo, aligned with that energy of, also we have to remember, the Venus. So she's definitely busy. She's able to be spontaneous. She does have a subconscious process that really has her own individual makeup. She is seen to bring, so the environmentalists are going to fucking love her. I'm just going to say this. Because the way this Uranus and Virgo works is it comes through as she has a conventional attitude, but she also sees how society and the importance of the environment plays out. And she's going to speak on that. So That's going to be a big factor with her and Trump, especially that Project 25 is going to be a big factor of the drilling again of the U.S. So, Trump wants to drill, honey, drill, so we don't have to get oil from other countries. And we're going to have to look at that. On the environmental stance, not a good look, but on the money stance, it makes sense. So I guess it's going to really play out. Where do you see it? Do you feel like that's something we're going to do? And we have to remember that's the area of domestication of our home. And with this Uranus in Virgo, this is going to be a hot topic. This is going to be that analytical mentality that she is going to have to prove to the nation, to humanity, what is the best thing. Is it money now? Survival, not so later, vice versa. And that being in the 4th house, that is going to be a huge speaking point. The fundamentals. She's able to show the fundamentals, and it's going to feel explosive. There's going to be some fear mongering with that. The Neptune in the 6th. The Neptune in the 6th lets me know that there is a tendency for awareness. There is also a tendency for specialization in certain alternatives. She does have kind of that dreamy aspect about her. She also has that hidden aspect about her. She has a significant mission in life. Her mission right now is to win. She has that innermost of the feelings, and she's centered around bringing a new personal and also intentional, clearer insight to others. So I do feel like the Neptune in Scorpio could go two ways. She either does a remarkable job where everybody feels extremely transparent. There's transparency everywhere you turn. She's able to communicate. People feel like I'm going to vote for her because I know what the fuck is going to happen next. Where with Trump, they might be like, I don't know if I should vote for him. It might be a shit show. But they feel like, well, you know what? It's been okay, with her as vice president, except the Gaza thing. The Gaza thing, Ukraine too, but Ukraine, I feel like people can justify giving money to Ukraine. Giving money to Israel, people are not doing well with it. She's going to have to figure out how she's going to stop that, because people feel like they have blood. Their taxpayer blood is on their hands. So there is a lot of area of alliance still. A lot of people consider, are they the shadow government? Ooh. So that's a different podcast. But, definitely people of the U.S. are not feeling centered around that. Definitely in her relationship, she has that area of confusion in some sparks. I do definitely think that she desires to be in a relationship, but she also has that energy of self relationships where she wants to complete personal gain. I feel like her relationship is going to suffer a little bit with this presidency campaign and possible presidency. The Pluto and Virgo in the 4th house, it definitely shakes things up a bit. She is safe and she's controlled with that Pluto and Virgo in the 4th house, but also there's that area of fundamentals going both ways. She has a Chiron in Pisces in the 10th house, which I don't know how I feel about the Chiron in Pisces in the 10th house. to me, it screams a little bit of spiritual, religious frustrations, and it also screams a little bit of personal wounds. I feel like she's also that person who, when something happens and you either laugh or you cry, she probably laughs and tries to hide the cry, where she might need to hide the laugh and cry the cry. The Chiron in Pisces, to me, it represents that area of she's good at manifesting. Like I said, I feel like there's some mirror magic going on right now. She's looking in that mirror. She says, "Who's the next president? Who's the next president?" And she's saying, "That's me, honey. That's me. Call me Miss Harris, Presidente." So I definitely feel like she's able to interpret that. She has a strong love for music. I could definitely see her being aligned with creating manifestos. There's also that energy that feels like she's just not good enough. And unfortunately, even though that is something that will affect her, because she got so close, but she just didn't get there, right? She got so close, but just not close enough. I do feel that with this presence of Chiron and Pisces. But I also think that people connect with her and they connect with her journey. So she may do work for other people. She may be that wounded warrior on the spiritual forefront. I do think that the spiritual and the religious views are definitely something that I've never looked to see what her, if she's religious. I've never really looked to see that, but it's going to be interesting to see if she's like Catholic, like Biden was, and he would go to church and stuff like that. So it makes me wonder if she's going to start to show the more of the religious side, because a lot of people love God, and if you love God, we love you. So it makes a correlation, especially with the Chiron and Pisces. So there might be some energy around that we will see. The North Node in Gemini in the first house lets me know that the communication is where she's at right now, that area of placement where she's usually very direct. Like I said, I feel like she's going to trip Trump. She going to trip him with her words. She going to do a tripperoo on that presidential debate. And he might be like, ooh, girl, you just tripped me up. And we'll see how that goes. But perhaps with the religious values coming out a little bit more, people might feel a little bit centered around her. The North Node in Gemini will show that she has a strong heart, a strong love for God, or some type of leader. I don't know if she's I don't recall ever really seeing her show any religious or spiritual significance. She can't be like, "I'm an atheist." People will be like, "No, girl, we ain't voting for you." I can just tell you right now. This country loves God. And this country loves religion, right? We love to separate ourselves. I love God. I do believe there is a higher creator. I do believe there is a higher energy. I just don't know if I believe in church. I just don't know if I believe in organized religion, but I do believe in God. And I do pray every night. So for people who think that I'm just a little spiritual witch going around, you're right. But I do pray, and I do believe there is a higher creator. Who that higher creator is, I don't know. But it's something up there. Okay. So the ascendant in Gemini is centered around that area of the ascendant, especially in the 24 degree, where to me it feels like there's a lot of knowledge, and she has this knowledge. Also, she sometimes can let this energy escape her, where it turns into too much, and then that's when we see that humor. Some people are going to love the humor. I'm going to tell you, I love the humor. I love humor. I think that's why I'm entertained with Trump, because Trump is so friggin', it's so bad that it's funny sometimes. And I do like humor. So she's witty and she has a good sense of humor, and people are going to like it, except for people who don't like humor are going to say, this is not funny. This is not a joke, and our country is running to shit. So, the midheaven in Pisces makes me a little nervous when we think about it on the area of election time. It makes me a little nervous. Personally, does not make me a little nervous, but the midheaven in Pisces, right around the 10th house, to me screams some Saturn energy, as we have the Saturn in Pisces. Traditionally, Saturn represents takeaway. I know people are saying that now Saturn represents boundaries, responsibilities, and all this beautiful, area of coming to terms with your frequency, which impossibly, yes. But when we look at that area of aspects, is this Saturn in Pisces close to the midheaven going to hurt her, or is it going to benefit her? I'm not going to get too wrapped up into saying it exactly, how I see it. I know that's what you guys want. I think she has a good possibility. I'll be honest. I think Kamala has a good possibility. But there's some things that I still think Trump, damn, people fucking love that dude. There's no, I don't know if she has that connection with the US that Trump has. The fact that people did not run when he was getting shot, they ducked. But they did not run out in a frenzy. I mean, some might have. But the fact that they did not run lets me know that there are people who are willing to take a bullet. People have taken a bullet for Trump. Fuck. The Secret Service lady just got let go. And she needed to, because she was not doing her goddamn job. Sorry. I don't mean to use the Lord's name in vain, but she was not doing her job. They need to let her go. Time to let her go. Pack your bags, sisters. Pack your bags, sister, because you should have been looking all around. I'm sorry. Trump, Biden, Harris, I don't care. None of our political officials should take the risk or the chance of having a bullet to their head. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. There are some areas that make me a little nervous in her aspects. The sun opposing the moon, that full moon effect might create some areas of volatility. The sun trine the Saturn. The sun with the strong trine of Saturn, and then also we have that Saturn working around the midheaven. Definitely something that could bring areas of possibilities. Also, she could appear selfish and also overly centered around herself, where people might not like that process. Also, I do think the Mercury trine the midheaven is something that she could work with. The mentality, and her active personality invites her to be a good communicator, a gifted thinker, and she is very well organized, which for people who can't stand the chaos of Trump, they will like this. The area of the Venus and the sextile of Neptune, that energy is charming, it's generous, and she is able to create and restore certain aspects that people thought they got rid of. She's able to bring some dreams back. She is. The opposition of Uranus opposing Chiron again. That Chiron in that area of the 10th does make me nervous. That area of unsure, but also having a conservative side could definitely play out, as long as she isn't seen as unprofessional and too spontaneous. She is a creative thinker, and I hope that gives her an area to communicate well. She has had some experiences that are obstacles that she might talk about, and she might share some of those motivations and inspiration to the collective. So if she's able to address that of being quote, quote, a woman who's had obstacles, a woman who has had to make movement that has gone against the grid because she had to do what's right for her, it might be something that people align with. The Neptune in strong sextile with Pluto lets me think that she could definitely create some areas of rebirth in some of her spiritual and also her manifestos. So keep doing that mirror magic, girl. The Neptune trine Chiron, definitely exposing the dreams. She is empathetic, and she is I personally think she's more born of a area of healer, maybe she can heal the nation. Maybe she can. She could slap that Band-Aid on and heal us, girl. She could do some Reiki, heal us. So that is the birth chart reading of Kamala Harris. I am doing another reading, but I wanted to give you guys a background. So I will definitely look at the area of transits, upcoming November 5th election date. What I see. Is there going to be an election? Is there not going to be an election? We will go through that. And then also how the synastry with her and the country work, how the synastry with her and Donald work and don't work. Because I pulled up the synastry charts to both. And I will say there's a big difference. So I will share that with you guys. Okay, everybody have an amazing, amazing day. Please remember to leave your comments in the comments section. Let me know what you think about this podcast. How do you feel about these birth charts? How do you feel about this election? Do you think this election is going to go down? Do you think it's going to happen? How do you feel about Kamala's chart? What do you think about some of her aspects? What do you think about that Chiron in the 10th house? What do you think about that energy of Saturn in the 9th? Let me know. Everybody have an amazing day, and tune in later. Bye-bye.